Alright, day 2. I'm heading to the border with Georgia. I'm going to cross and I'm going to probably about 2 hours to the border, so about the same journey I did yesterday. Head over the border, about 3 hours the other side. It's now 1:45. Had a bit of a leisurely morning, spending some time with my hosts and their hospitality, which has been great. And so the only restriction is I need to get there before nightfall, basically. I don't want to be driving in the dark. I've got a place booked. I've already pre-booked booking.com. Such a useful website actually for booking stuff. And it's nice to know I've got somewhere to aim for. I potentially could have done a massive journey from here in Armenia all the way to the port Batumi in Georgia in one day, but it would have been an epic long drive, probably with some driving in darkness. So I've decided to split it up. Plus also I'm learning about this vehicle on long journeys for the first time, so I don't really want to push it. Just add a bit of extra time into the itinerary in case there are any problems. It gives me time to rectify them before I need to get to the port on Monday. Today's Saturday. Right, let's go. Puff of black smoke. Off we go. Bye bye Dilijan. And a bit of off-roading to start. In a Defender, it's actually not that many squeaks and rattles. The suspension's built is quite good. It's obviously quite boat-like because of the shock absorbers and the condition they're in. There is a haze of black smoke under a lot of conditions, mostly when the power's on. I'm going to put it down to altitude. This vehicle's lived at altitude its entire life. We're about 1,400 metres here at the moment, and we were up at 2,500 metres last night, coming over the top on the journey. So I'll be interested to see, it's got a new air filter in it. I'll be interested to see what it's like when we get into the lowlands of Europe, down around sea level, or even Georgia. But then the other aspect as well, I guess, will be running on the cleaner diesel. The diesel here, I think, comes from Iran. So whether there'll be a slight difference when it gets to the UK or Europe with a different blend of hydrocarbons. But now we are heading into the valley, down towards Vanadzor. Then we'll take a right-hand turn up towards the Bagration border with Georgia. It's pretty wallowy in the corners, so definitely going to have to watch my speed on this road. Well, first incorrect assumption you make from looking at a map is you assume that a valley all goes in the same direction. I thought it was going to go downhill, but obviously not. We're going uphill, probably to some kind of shoulder and then down the other side. Anyway, I'm running the gears. I'm in third gear at the moment, going 60, which is about 40 miles an hour. One thing I'm trying to do, because of I suspect the clutch is the original one, hence the clutch pedal being low. I'm trying to keep it in low gears on the uphill, so there's just not so much strain on the engine. The last thing I want, which is probably the biggest risk I'm thinking about on this whole journey, is clutch slip. If the clutch starts slipping because it's just worn, you know, that's going to be a real problem. I'm trying highway speeds and what have you, so I'm just trying to keep the gearing lower so that the clutch doesn't ever feel like it has to slip. There's snow in them there hills. Gear down, bring up the revs to keep the clutch happy. You know when you put high load on the vehicle, and that's when the clutch is working its hardest, and that's anytime you're mashing your foot down into the throttle. That's usually, I would have thought, when you're putting the most strain on the clutch. Trade-off between actually using the clutch, I feel like because the clutch is low, it's just instinctively built into me that I assume that I've got a limited number of clutch presses before the whole thing fails. Ideally, I'd stick in the same gear the whole way, which is ideally what's going to happen when I'm in Europe. But as I found out yesterday on highway driving, I am having a change on the hills between 4th and 5th. And on the highway speeds, get up some of the bigger hills. So here we're kind of flat, slightly downhill, 80 kilometers an hour. I reckon that's time for 5th gear. Yes! That was 1,900 metres around about the peak there, so higher than anywhere in the UK. No wonder we were getting lots of black smoke, or have been getting lots of black smoke. We're now in Vanadzor. Funny, external piping is something that I always associate with ex-Soviet countries. There's not really potholes on this road, it's manhole cover slalom, because the manhole covers are sunken in places, there's a lot of them. That was Vanadzor, and we are going to turn right and head up that valley. Wow, that is an epic valley. Oh, look, a train! I've been watching the temperature gauge. It sits in about the right position, just left of centre. When I finished the journey yesterday, after I'd done a long downhill section, it was a bit left of that. So these things are notorious for not particularly monitoring the temperature that well, and staying fairly static, even in response to temperature variations. So I'm curious about what it's going to do. And if it is showing that it drops and goes up a bit, then at least that's showing that potentially if it's overcooling, that's better than undercooling. I've not been able to do anything about the mud that's in the bottom of the radiator. I've not had access to a hose pipe near the vehicle yet, or I may not ever be able to do that. I'm going to have to live with that till I get home. I have to do a lot of pre-braking, because these brakes, you've got to brake in preparation of braking. That's how kind of soft they are. And I'm just taking this out because this thing wallows quite a lot on the bends. And you've got those kind of bends where it starts off at one angle and then it gets tighter the further you go around the bend. And that's a classic scenario for rolling a Land Rover. God, don't get close. Tunnel, sunglasses off, headlights on, and hold your breath. No, actually, there's not many themes in this one. But bloody tight corners, Jesus. Whoop. Could have gone wrong. A bit of an off-road section. I tell you, this is the comfiest Defender I've ever been in terms of suspension. It just eats up the bumps. My other one, jolting, jarring. And maybe these bushes are very worn, the shock absorber's not doing their thing. Who knows? Like old mining or something. Look at that for a hazard. Woo! This road is disintegrating from erosion quite heavily. Another good bit. Slow down. Bunch of lorries now, so we're into Wacky races. Great scenery though, wow, impressive. Google reckons, well, it knows it's 50 kilometres to go, it reckons about 50 minutes. Roadworks, close the flaps. Someone doing a U-ey. Definitely less smoke. Throttle down now. Yeah, we're below 900 metres now. Looks like it could be making it into a highway. Look at that place up there. Tower blocks at the top of a cliff, clinging to the mountain. Classic example of the yellow diamonds having priority, which we don't have in the UK, the equivalent, but very common across Europe and other countries. What was that place? Incredible industrial architecture. Oh, that was not fun. Lorry in the middle of the road coming around here, full braking, just about stopped. Lorry driver was not happy because I didn't leave him enough space. Oh man, yeah, good test of the brakes, but I'm glad I'm driving slow. This road is just falling into the river. We are near the border. I'm getting there, you can tell, because there's loads of petrol stations and just lots more of car insurance and all sorts of stuff. When in doubt, overtake the lorries. Welcome to no man's land. Out of Armenia. That was straightforward so far. 8 minutes, and that took. Georgian side's got a bit more of a queue. Let's go. A nightmare with this clutch. Inching forward bit by bit. He didn't worry about the fact that it wasn't in my name. He asked what I was doing, where I was going. I said Georgia. He said, what are you doing? I said tourism. Took my photo. Yeah, this might be the slightly more complex bit. I don't know if they're going to need more documentation for Georgia. So I'm in Georgia. Just had a quick stop. The border was back there. Had a quick stop, checked under the engine, make sure there's no extensive leaks. There was a leak from the. It was an oil leak, it's mostly the engine oil from the oil filter, which I think it is the problem. Changed SIM cards over from the physical SIM to the eSIM. I'm quite lucky with this phone. It's got dual SIM capability, which is really handy. And we're off. Probably another. Google says just over 2 hours. I reckon 2.5. The way it's been going, I've been adding on. But the border was great. Half an hour to get through. The power of attorney document was required not to get out of Armenia, but to get through into Georgia. They wanted it, and they typed everything in. They took my driving license. Georgia only cared about Armenia only cared about passport and technical passport, i.e. the registration document. Georgia wanted those two plus my driving license, plus the power of attorney, and she read it all and she was fine with it. And I got insurance. That's the place back there where you buy insurance from the compulsory insurance centre, CIC. But I bought it online. I've got it printed out. Apparently they're quite hot on that in Georgia, but I've got it. Cool. I'm going to avoid Tbilisi. I'm actually staying a bit north of Tbilisi. I'm going to avoid it just because of traffic. I don't want, with this clutch pedal, I don't want to be in traffic any more than I need to. Wow, what an astonishing valley. Georgia, Armenia, the earliest evidence of wine production is in this part of the world, about 3000 BC, I think it is. Unbelievable, and you can kind of tell why. Massive, fertile, wide valleys, lots of sunshine. Anyway, that's a distraction. actually as well, there's nothing at the border to change money, but you stop here in the nearest town and there's border change, and you've got to go in the supermarket here on the right, and the guy will come out to do that. No idea what the exchange rate was. I'll have to calculate that later, whether I've been shafted or not, but I just need some cash in my pocket. It's always handy to have cash in your pocket. Big old flag, that. Look, Land Cruiser. These are the bits where we can make progress. UK number plate. You what? Don't expect to see that in Georgia. So I'm in the lorry lane apparently. Oh dear me. Trundling up in third gear. There goes a Prius. A lot of engine braking coming down here. Sticking in third. We'll slow down to 70 on this bit because there are cows in the road. Tbilisi is over there. There it is. So really losing a lot of altitude here. I'm going to be going right and then around the bypass road. Tbilisi. Okay Google, I'm trusting you now to get me to that bypass road. Wherever the hell we are. So I think classic. Google's just tried to send me down a one-way street. Okay Google. Or is it up there? I know, it's up there. This is part of the problem. Being a solo driver, I've got to sort of learn and memorise the route before I go, because I don't get time. Oh, I don't like using this clutch. I think it's stiff to get into gear. I think it's because it's hot. Right, I'm going to switch to the Yandex. This is ridiculous. Okay, Yandex. No road around there really, so I'm going to go back where I was and turn left where I came from and back around that way. Yeah, that's the way to go. Google, what do you say? You say go back this way, but that's the one-way street. So go around that way. All right, that's better. Oh, this clutch is getting hard work. So are the brakes. I thought the brakes were better after we started after the border, and they got worse again. So I'm wondering whether the fluid is. Who knows how old it is? It's dark. Whether I do have the stuff to replace it. It's just whether whatever you put in the reservoir will mix all the way down to the calipers. Might be worth a try, but I don't think it'll be a silver bullet. Back on the highway. That's nice, bit of airflow. This is basically the highway to Azerbaijan, Red Bridge. Nice complex junction, this one. I'm going that way. Yes, Batumi, eventually tomorrow. Back with the sun on me. Right, so I'm scooting up around there to the other side of Tbilisi. Well, that looks prime for a dip right now, I tell you. Have you ever seen grooves like that in a lorry lane? Being overtaken by whatever that is. Oh, it's a Lada 2107. Overtaken. Oh my god, there are clouds. First time I've seen a cloud in 3 days. Whew, that is nice. There's a lot of people just hanging off your side, looking like they want to get through. Descending down. I'm in 4th gear engine braking, and I'm selectively choosing to use my brakes. I don't want to get brake fade, which I suspect is partially the problem I'm having with the brakes. There's Tbilisi. Sufficiently bypassed. That's the bridge. Here we go, last few turns. Whew, silence. So that is almost 6 hours. So this steering wheel is disgusting. It's coming off in my hands. It's like melting. Right, let's go and check in. Welcome to to my boutique room. So that aircon, would you believe? What a luxury. £23 for tonight. Oh, it's so nice to have somewhere to aim for. That's going to be the difficult bit once I get into Europe, because I don't know how far I can actually go. Here I've got, the ferry is a restriction about how far I can go. What you don't want to do is book somewhere and you end up there at 2 p.m. because there's a whole extra load of driving you could have done. Although the challenge, I've done 6 hours, almost 6 hours today travelling. It's bloody hot. I'm going to be potentially more of a restricting factor on this journey than the vehicle is. Definitely, I'm going to be tailing off in the morning tomorrow, so that's going to be good. Gears are very sticky. I think it's just... I noticed, and the brakes as well. The brakes seemed to be better after I did the border, and the clutch has got more difficult over time to engage. So it's either clutch dragging, because the fluid's getting hot and it is old, or it's gearbox oil is old and it's getting hot and it's, you're not able to shift as well. It's a bit notchier. So it's probably the clutch. The steering wheel is horrendous, and the seat is really uncomfortable. The middle bit, the lumbar support is just non-existent. I don't know if the foam's all gone or whatever, but it's just springy as hell. And the bit around your shoulders is really tough, so you end up sort of hunched in. I've had it in other vehicles, high mileage Defenders I've driven elsewhere. It seems to be what happens to them, and it's really uncomfortable. Around about hour 4, start getting a bit of lower back, just aching. We've been thinking about, potential 10 plus hour days driving, 12 hours pushing on. What does that mean in reality? I mean, it's light for another probably hour and a half, 2 hours. Is it worth pushing on that if it's, you would have potentially done 10 hours, 11 hours driving by this point? Well, so be it. If I need to do that, I need to do that. But I'm expecting Europe to be just as hot as this. Today was like 37. Gonna have a shower? Oh no. What I really need to do is grease the prop shafts. It's the best time to do it right now because they're hot. Get it done and before it's done tomorrow. I am wondering, because I've got a bit of time in between me, whether I try and get the UJs replaced. It's just whether they can fit me in at short notice before the ferry goes. I've got horrible noise on overrun, horrible noise on power. Not much in the cruise, that's the quietest time. I've got vibration when I brake at low speeds. I've got vibration at 70 kilometres an hour. I can feel it through the body, just juddering. I feel it in my feet. Not all leaks on here. It's going to be hard to tell whether mine's leaking or not. Looks like we've got a problem with the temperature and the grease. This thing's always bloody leaked. I have to roll forward a bit because I am burning my hands on the gearbox. Well, that is a nasty job. Nasty. But it's needed. It took a lot of grease actually. They all took quite a few pumps. So it's all splattered out probably. I was going to check fluids and stuff, but everything's so bloody hot. I can't even keep my hand on that. Even the wings are bloody hot. So I think I'll do it all in the morning. Check our fluids and stuff. It's not ideal that I'm on a wonk up the curb here. Don't know if you're supposed to park here. There's an arrow down there for parking. It's time for a shower, I think. Get some grub. So I want to have a shower. Why is that? It's alive and it's stuck in there.